This has been Turfside with Joe Nuxall, brought to you by...
So a 19-minute rain delay before this one gets started. Seaver in front, no balls and a strike as he hooks up with catcher Mike O'Berry and brings it back to Wilson, and the change is swung on and fouled at the plate, and very quickly Seaver in front, no balls and 2 strikes. Seaver has a career record against the team that he formerly played many years with, 4 wins and 3 losses. He beat the Mets twice in 1981 by 5-2 scores, first on June 11 and then on August 28. He's ahead in pitching to Wilson, and the fastball is high and inside. Outfield playing Mookie Wilson to hit the other way. In fact, right fielder Walker playing him about straight away in right center. That pitch is swung on and fouled into the middle of O'Berry, a strikeout, and Seaver gets off to a good start with a punch out against Mookie Wilson. That brings up the catcher, John Stearns, and Joe was commenting about his fine play this season. Stearns batting .319 with 3 homers and 14 RBIs, and before Tom goes to work on Stearns, he'll confer with Mike O'Berry between the plate and the mound. That meeting now breaking up. The inner defense for the Reds, Danny Dreesen at first base, Ron Oster at second. At shortstop, Dave Concepcion. At third base, Johnny Bench. In the outfield, Mike Vail in left, Eddie Milner in center, Dwayne Walker in right, and O'Berry the catcher. The pitch to Stearns is over. Strike 1 call. Out of the dugout and moving on deck is George Foster. Back comes the strike 1 pitch, and the change is way short as it bounces in the dirt in front of home plate and picked up by the catcher. 1 ball and 1 strike. Plate umpire Nick Colosi. At first base, Frank Pulley. Jerry Crawford at second. At third, crew chief Doug Harvey. Seaver 1-1 to Stearns. Swung on, fly ball, right field. Walker tracking it, and he'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. George Foster making his first appearance here in Cincinnati. And getting a mixed review here. Some boos, some applause. Foster hitting .247 with 6 homers and 22 RBIs, and showing signs a few days ago of maybe starting to put things together. And that is what the Mets have been hoping for since day 1 of the season. In that 3-game series at Shea Stadium against his former club, he was up 11 times with 3 hits and a run batted in, and that RBI came on the double against Tom Seaver. George, as is the case when he settles into the batter's box, takes a while. He's there now with 2 out and the base is empty, and Seaver gunning it toward the plate, and Foster chases a bad pitch outside and low. Strike 1. 2 big knockers hitting 3 and 4 in the Mets lineup, Foster and Dave Kingman. They've pretty much been hitting that way all year with Foster third and Kingman fourth. Outfield deep and playing Foster to pull. Seaver with a pitch, Foster with a take, and strike 2 is called. No balls and 2 strikes. Well, Tom trying to knock him off in order, getting Wilson on a strikeout swinging, Stearns on a fly ball to right. Foster waving that black bat around as Seaver rocks, kicks, and fires, and the pitch is high and off the plate for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Right-hander coming right back, and Foster drills one into deep left center field, and that ball is going to be off out of here for a home run. George Foster, 7th of the year, his first at-bat at Riverfront Stadium in an enemy uniform since way back in the early 70s when he was a member of the San Francisco Giants, results in a line drive home run to deep left center, and the Mets lead it 1-0.
Marty, we watched a few of those off the bat of George. No question about it. He got all of that one, and it looked like a fastball right out over the plate. George took care of it.
That he did. Here's Dave Kingman. The fastball is low for ball 1. Kingman in the throes of a horrendous slump that has seen his batting average drop down to .214, but if there's such a thing as a hard .214, he's hitting it. 2 balls and no strikes. 14 home runs. Second in the National League, and 38 runs batted in. But the hits have been few and far between for Kingman of late. 14 homers, one less than league leader Dale Murphy, and the 38 RBIs, third in the league. That pitch inside, 3 balls and no strikes. Murphy, the league leader in both homers and RBIs, 15 and 42 respectively. Keith Moreland with 39 runs batted in, Kingman with 38. Reds have the shift on the left side of the infield with Oster joining Concepcion and bench, and Kingman taken on the 3-0 pitch, a strike call. Two outs, 1 run in. First inning. Kingman fouls it back and over our heads. It'll be into the upper deck. That home run for Foster, his 7th of the season, and the 8th home run that Seaver has given up this year. That ties in with Mario Soto for that dubious distinction. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The inning is over. 1 run, 1 hit. After a half inning of play, Mets 1, Reds are coming up.
WSYX is Contemporary Christian Radio. WSYX is Contemporary Christian Radio.
Well, we mentioned how the rest of the weekend will shape up. 7:05 starting time tomorrow night, 2:15 on Sunday, with the Old Timers game preceding that at 1 o'clock. The Old Timers will play a 3-inning ball, 3-inning game, and the Reds and the Mets will start at 2:15 to close out the series on Sunday afternoon. Plenty of seats available for both of these games. The Reds ticket office opens at 9 o'clock both tomorrow and Sunday. And why not call the telephone order desk right now and order your tickets? In Ohio, call toll-free 1-800-582-1842. Out of state, call 1-800-548-REDS. And locally in Cincinnati, 421-4510. Before Eddie Milner steps in, we'll pause for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Network.
Hi, this is Ron Reiser. Let me help you make it through the drive home every weekday afternoon from 2 to 6 here on WSYX London.
Right-hander Mike Scott takes a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the first inning, where it will be Ed Milner, Ron Oster, and Dave Concepcion. First time Scott has faced the Reds this season. He delivers to Milner, and Eddie bunts first base side, but Scott picks it up as he steps quickly off the mound and throws on to Dave Kingman. One pitch, all that is required to retire Milner on a bunt that he got too close to the mound, and Scott really had no problems with it. That brings up Ron Oster. Ronnie batting .257, 15 RBIs. He's homered twice, and both home runs coming in that weekend series last week up at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Oster swings and fouls at first pitch. The Mets infield has Dave Kingman at first, Wally Backman at second. At shortstop, Ron Gardenhire. They got a rookie double play combination. At third base, Bob Baylor. The outfield from left to right, George Foster, Mookie Wilson, Ellis Valentine, and Stearns behind the plate. Oster bunts, and that's off the first base side, picked up by Scott, and he throws the ball into right field. The ball gets by everybody, but Ronnie really running hard and straight down past the bag. He'll be on with a bunt single. So the first two, bunt, Milner thrown out, Oster on with a base hit. Reds have the potential tie-in run aboard for shortstop Dave Concepcion. And momentarily timeout call as Wally Backman, the Mets second baseman, goes into the dugout. Apparently, well, let's see. It looks like he's getting a towel to wipe wipe his hands and arms off as he hit the AstroTurf trying to cut that wild throw by pitcher Mike Scott off before it went into the outfield. He's cleaning up in the New York dugout before heading on back to second base. David, a 300 hitter with a homer and 22 RBIs right now with a 5-game hitting streak. And extending that a bit, he's also hit safely in 9 out of his last 11 games. Now Backman using the rosin bag that's on the back slope of the mound to further get things in order. Davey up in New York was up 14 times with 3 hits, knocked in 1 run. Mike Scott, last year 5-10 for New York in 23 starts with a .390 earned run average. He throws to first, driving Oster back. Came up to the club in 1980 after beginning the year at Tidewater, where he made 27 appearances. Got into 6 games as a starter in 80 with New York. Another throw to first, where he won 1 and lost 1. His first major league appearance came back in 1979 when he was 1-3 with a big league club. And right now paying more attention to Oster than he is to Concepcion. A 3rd straight throw to Dave Kingman. Mets leading 1-0 and a top of the 1st inning home run to left center by George Foster. 1 out for Cincinnati. Oster's on at first base, and Dave Concepcion patiently waiting at the plate for Mike Scott to pay some attention to him. And the throw to first again. Now, Davey is still yet to see a pitch. Scott straightens up and comes to the plate, and Concepcion takes a strike. One afternoon game of the National League today. We mentioned the Giants with a win. They defeated Chicago 4-3. They got off quickly on a 2-run first-inning home run by Chili Davis, his 5th of the year. Fred Brining won it in relief of Mike Chris, and Greg Menton got a save, while Fergie Jenkins suffered his 6th loss in 9 decisions for the Chicago Cubs. Pitch is off the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike. Danny Dreesen on deck. Maybe very sore, and still somewhat sore after that run-in with Ron Reed of the Philadelphia Phillies on Monday night in Philadelphia. And if you're wondering about the aftermath of that as to fines and whatnot levied by the league office as Scott throws to first again, there were some announced. The National League has assessed fines of $300 each to Dave Concepcion and Mario Soto, and $200 to Paul Householder following Monday night's fight. Hopefully that will be the last we hear of that. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out and 1 on. First inning at Riverfront Stadium, and they picked him off the first base. Mike Scott throws one more time in numerous attempts to get Oster at first, and that time he picked him off. So Oster back to the dugout, and they're 2 away in the inning. Here's Davey taking a breaking ball inside. 2 balls a strike.
It looked like Ron slipped as he broke back toward the bag. His right foot gave way on him.
Concepcion, a bouncer foul, third base side to square the count against Scott at 2-2. Well, Mike Scott going over there throw after throw, and finally pegs one over to Dave Kingman that reaps dividends as they pick Oster off. Dave Concepcion swings and hits it foul off to the right. That ball will be out of play. Division leading Atlanta, they are on the road tonight. They're at home, rather, to the Montreal Expos. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that game has been postponed because of rain, so the Reds can gain ground a half a game if they can win over New York tonight. 3-2 on Concepcion. Here comes Scott with a payoff pitch, and Davey takes ball 4 inside. So the pickoff of Ron Oster proves to be a big one, as Dave Concepcion draws a 2-out walk, keeping the inning going for first baseman Danny Dreesen. And he continues to be the most consistent hitter in the lineup and sports the best batting average among the regulars at .307. Continues to lead the club in homers and RBIs, 7 and 25 respectively. And Scott now tries to do it for a second time in the inning as he wheels and deals to Kingman, but Davies back. Dreesen climaxed that 3-game series in New York a couple of weeks ago. Throw to first again, and a very close play that time, with 2 home runs in a Wednesday night loss at Shea Stadium. Twice now this season he's had 2 homers in a ball game because he did it in Philadelphia on Monday night. Well, Davey calls time to clean himself up and chat briefly with first base umpire Frank Pulley. Dreesen, with a 4-game hitting streak, has hit in 22 of his last 26 games. 2 outs, 1-0 New York first inning. Mike Scott with a pause at the belt. And the pitch to Dreesen, swung on, fly ball, left field. It's hooking, and that ball's going to be foul. Deep down the left field line. It curves foul and out of play. Now, Dreesen, for a moment, brought them out of their seats here at Riverfront Stadium. Maybe 3/4 of the way to third base, cutting now back behind the mound across the infield. Maybe with a short lead against Kingman at first. Dreesen takes an off-speed pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, tomorrow night, we'll see the most consistent pitcher that the Mets have had this season in George Bamberger's 4-man starting rotation, Charlie Puleo, 5 wins and 2 losses. Another young man who we did not see in the 3-game set in New York. Scott ready, throws. Dreesen taking a fastball in on him, 2 balls and 1 strike on the left-handed batter. Coming up next will be left fielder Mike Vail. Milner opened the inning by trying to bunt his way aboard. Scott threw him out. Oster laid down a bunt and beat it out for a single. Was picked off. Concepcion is walked. A count of 2-1 on Dreesen as the throw goes to first again. Pitch. Ground ball up the middle, but playing him that way, shortstop Ron Gardenhire. He taps the bag for the force play, and that ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And after 1 complete, the Mets 1 and the Reds nothing.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob Braun for Borden Dairy, celebrating over 125 years making the top quality dairy products. And they want to say thank you, America, for making us #1. And when it comes to Borden ice cream, Lady Borden Premium Ice Cream is made only from the purest quality ingredients. From selected ripe strawberries, juicy peaches, and plump cherries to our fresh, rich cream, crunchy nuts, and generous fudge swirls. And now, look for Lady Borden Premium Ice Cream in the convenient half-gallon container, in vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry swirl. And as you may know, you have something new to try, and that's Borden Cookies and Cream. That delicious cookie flavor, chocolate that is, mixed with premium Lady Borden vanilla ice cream. If you don't see Lady Borden half-gallons at your supermarket, you ask for it. Borden Ice Cream.
Put them all together, they spell LB. A word that means the world to us.
1-0 New York as we go to the top half of the second inning. Ellis Valentine will lead it off, followed by Bob Baylor and Wally Backman. Seaver giving up that 2-out home run to Foster in the first on a 1-2 pitch that George lined out of here to left center field. And then he came back to strike out Dave Kingman after being behind 3 balls and no strikes. So Seaver has recorded 2 strikeouts, but he's given up the Mets long ball that has given New York the early lead. In the American League, after an inning, the Indians trying to make it 11 consecutive victories. Lead Toronto 1-0. Seattle and the Tigers have played a scoreless inning in Detroit. Other games will have Kansas City at New York, Chicago at Texas, Baltimore at Minnesota, Boston at California, and Milwaukee at Oakland. Of course, a very sparse schedule last night. In fact, only 1 game was played in both leagues. In the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates did it again, making it 3 wins in a row with a 5-4 10-inning win over the Montreal Expos. That 3-game win streak, the longest of the year for Chuck Tanner's club. Ellis Valentine, he's the right fielder of the week for New York. That has been the most populated position on this ball club. When we were in New York, he was a pinch hitter, and he's been swinging a hot bat since getting into the lineup. He takes the first pitch for ball one, batting .271. Valentine has homered 3 times and has driven in 8 runs. Ellis hitting .370 over his last 7 games with 3 homers in all 8 of his RBIs. 1-0 pitch. That's in for a strike. I'll tell you, if this guy starts up and performs for New York the way he did for a number of years with the Montreal Expos, that would be a real plus factor for this team. He swings on the 1-1 and grounds to shortstop. Davey to his right makes a pickup and easily throws him out at first base. Stop by the Cincinnati Reds ticket agency nearest you and purchase your Reds tickets in advance in Middletown at Montgomery Ward, in Hamilton at Clark Sporting Goods, in Fairfield at Fairfield Pharmacy, in Springfield at Sears, and in Richmond at Phillips Drugs. Here's third baseman Bob Baylor. Baylor starting over the regular at third base, Hubie Brooks, and Tuesday night was a very costly night for the Mets in their game against the Atlanta Braves. Tom Verizor suffered a broken left leg on a play at second base on a double play that Claudell Washington hammered into him trying to break it up, and Verizor suffered a broken left leg, and Hubie Brooks suffered a mild hamstring pull. 1 ball and no strikes on Baylor. Pitch is down low, 2-0. Well, needless to say, Verizor on the disabled list, and the Mets announced today that they purchased the contract of a 21-year-old outfielder from their Tidewater Farm club, Rusty Tillman, who's in uniform tonight. Ball 3. I think you could call, without fear of argument, Bob Baylor one of the unsung heroes on this team. He is a young man who seems to get multiple hits almost every time he's in the starting lineup. That pitch is in for a called strike. Started out in the Baltimore Oriole organization, and they were touting him early in his career in the high minors as a coming star with the Birds, but then they dealt him off to Toronto, and he's here with the New York Mets. Strike 2 call. Play all over that infield. Second base, shortstop, third. He's also played in the outfield. Seavers come back to run it full after being behind 3-0. Lets it go, the payoff, and it's popped up, and it'll drop back upstairs. Baylor has hit safely in 11 out of his last 13 games, batting .390. 16 for his last 41, and a .341 hitter on the season with 13 runs knocked in. Again, the payoff pitch, and a fly ball headed toward Eddie Milner in shallow center. Ed is waiting on it, 2 out. Second baseman Wally Backman, hitting .303 at his first homer of the year down in Atlanta. 3-run home run. Has knocked in 9 runs on the year. He and Ron Gardenhire make up, as we mentioned earlier, that rookie double play combination. Backman, a left-handed batter. Then shallow at third, the pitch, and it's in, strike 1. Talking about Hubie Brooks, they hope that they'll have him available for the remaining games in this series, but it's an iffy situation. There's almost that blooper pitch that Seaver will throw occasionally, and gets away from Michael Berry, and the count squares at a ball and 1 strike. Was it Terry Francona or Tim Wallach had a base hit off of that pitch up in Montreal on Seaver's last start. Check swing, strike 2 call. Looks like Seaver's throwing the ball, Joe, very early here in the first, throwing well in the first couple of innings. Tries to put Backman away with this pitch, and he went too far. The ball hit the bat and found its way into the middle of O'Berry. Seaver has his 3rd strikeout. 3 up, 3 down. In the middle of the second at Riverfront, Mets 1, Cincinnati 0.
Honey, we have to do something about our water. These dishes are covered with hard water spots, and you've got iron stains on your shirts, too.
I know.
Remember how the neighbors were having the same trouble with their electric water conditioner?
Uh-huh.
They called Buckeye Water Conditioning and had a new Connecticut non-electric water conditioner installed. And they got rid of all their water problems and are saving money by using less salt and no electricity.
That sounds smart. Honey, let's call Buckeye Water Conditioning right now. 878-6333 or 861-6427. Honey, that's 878-6333 or 861-6427.
Bob E. Corbett, Republican candidate for state representative, is asking for your support to enable him to represent you, the 83rd District, in the state government. Bob E. Corbett can talk to the people of the 83rd District about their problems, relay their concerns to the State House, and work to overcome or improve said conditions. Bob E. Corbett has that confidence in himself and is asking for your vote on June 8th. Paid for by Citizens for Corbett. Jake Watkins, Treasurer.
Well, there's a brand new edition on the bookshelves at the Cincinnati Reds 580 gift shop. It's titled The Cincinnati Reds Scrapbook, and it's a handsome hardcover volume of 64 memorable stories about all-time favorite Reds players and big moments in Reds history. Author Bob Rathgeber and former Red slugger Ted Kluszewski will be at the Reds 580 gift shop tomorrow from 11:30 till 12:30 to autograph copies of the book. Stop by and talk a little baseball when you purchase your copy of the new book, The Cincinnati Reds Scrapbook. Might have missed Mark Purdy's column in the Cincinnati Enquirer this morning, all about Bob Rathgeber and the book. Pretty good endorsement. Mike Vail to lead off the home half of the second inning. Vail hitting .344, 2 home runs, and he's knocked in 14. He had a pair of 3-hit games on the road trip. He takes a pitch, and it's off the plate and high for a ball. Mike, a former New York Met, although originally signed into the Cardinals organization, he went to New York. And this was a club that he first came to the big leagues with. He swings and he misses. Count evens on Vail 1-1 with Dwayne Walker and Johnny Bench to follow. Mike Scott, the right-hander from Santa Monica, California. Vail takes a pitch inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. After graduating from high school, he played baseball at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, which certainly shouldn't have been hard duty. There's a ball, 3-1. Played there for 3 years. All-conference selection, all 3 years he was in school before signing to play professionally. 3 balls and a strike. He needs a strike here on Vail, and he gets it as Mike swings and fouls into the mid of Stearns, and the count goes full. Vail started a couple of games in New York where he had 2 hits and an RBI and 7 trips. The payoff is hit in the air to left field. Moving over to his left and waiting on it is Foster, and he's got it. 1 away. Dwayne Walker making his second start. He, of course, joined the club on the last homestand and made a start in the Philadelphia series, but then pulled a hamstring muscle. Running out, ground ball to first base, had to leave the lineup, and it's been that amount of time since he's been able to get back in there. Originally was not in the starting lineup tonight. Cesar Cedeno was, but had to be scratched. Walker drives one back into deep right center field. Back on the warning track. Valentine is high off the wall. Walker heading toward second base, and he's in standing with a double. His first major league hit. And he came no more than a foot or so from making it a home run. Well, let's see if somebody will have the presence of mind to save the ball for him. They will. As Frank Pulley gets it, flips it on to Ronnie Plaza. And Plaza will throw it into the dugout. It just missed by an inch or so of hitting the yellow line on top of the fence in right center, which will give you an idea of how close he came to cranking one out of here and tying it up. So Dwayne Walker has for himself a memento of his first big league hit. And now Johnny Bench will try to get him in with a tie and run. Scott looks around, pours it plateward. Bench lines one into right center. That's going to drop. Walker will score, and we're all tied up at 1-1.
I was just going to say, that's what we were talking about. A nice little soft liner flare somewhere, and John didn't drill that ball. He got it out there, though, and maybe that's, as we said, what we need to get us going.
It's a 14th run batted in for Johnny Bench. So with one out, a double by Walker, a single by J.B., and here's Mike O'Berry. Mike hitting .250 with 3 RBIs. Nothing wrong with Alex Trevino, the regular behind the plate. O'Berry getting the start tonight, and the pitch is on the outside, a call strike. The Reds last night in Indianapolis to take on their AAA farm club, winning that game by a score of 3-0, limiting George Scherger's club to only 2 base hits. O'Berry fouls off the pitch. He's behind 0-2. A couple of young men last night that threw the ball pretty well. They threw strikes. Joe Stalp and also Mike Ferguson. Ferguson on his way to Cedar Rapids, or from Cedar Rapids, and Stalp on his way there from the extended spring training program down in St. Petersburg. So they are teammates tonight. Here's a pop-up out of play. Holding at 2 strikes on catcher Mike O'Berry. One away here in the bottom of the second. 1 run in. Bench at first. O'Berry takes strike 3. That's the first strikeout for Mike Scott. And batting will be pitcher Tom Seaver. Seaver at the plate this season is batting .200. Tom is 3 for 15, a double, and no RBIs. The Mets got a homer from Foster in the first. The Reds got a double from Walker and a single by Bencher in the second to square things. Seaver now with 2 outs. Scott throws, and Tom swings and hits it high in the air and out of play into the seats along the right field line. Very deep at second, Wally Backman. Seaver takes strike 2. And Backman 2 steps or so behind the back white line at second base. Pitch. Fastball is high. Line-headed Mike Scott looking over to first. Johnny Bench against a holding Dave Kingman. And now the 1-2 pitch to opposite number Seaver. And strike 3, that's the inning. For the Reds, 1 run, 2 base hits. They leave a man. So we'll go to the 3rd inning with a score. Reds 1, Mets 1.
Some smooth words about Busch beer, courtesy of Tracy Nelson.
It's that time of day when you can say, come on and head for the mountain. You're the best is coming your way. Head for Busch beer, reach out, it's here. Come on and head for the mountain. Waiting for you. Head for the mountain. Head for the mountain. Head for Busch beer. Head for the mountain. Head for Busch beer. Head for the mountain. Head for Busch beer.
Anheuser-Busch in Louis, Missouri.
You sports fans should know that the Honda Prelude Sport Coupe is quite an athletic performer with front-wheel drive, 4-wheel independent suspension, and rack and pinion steering. The Prelude also scores high on total economy and standard features, like the power-operated moon roof for night games, even if you don't like sports.
We'll pause for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Network.
Hello, I'm Greg Fast. Brighten your weekday afternoons from 12 to 2 with the best in contemporary Christian music. See you weekday afternoons on FM 106 WSYX London.
Game as we go to the top half of the third inning. Ron Gardenhire, the shortstop and 8-batter, leads it off against Seaver. And here with the play-by-play, Joe Nuxall.
Thank you, Marty. Gardenhire, a .234 batting average as Seaver winds and delivers, and Gardenhire takes high and inside a ball. Looks like Ron had ideas of dragging a bunt. Gardenhire has driven in 12 runs, has 4 doubles. I'm back with a 1-0, and that's again inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Gardenhire, Scott, and Wilson here in the third inning. We're tied up 1-1. That's getting a run in the first on George Foster's 7th home run of the year. Gardenhire looks at a strike. 2-1. The Reds getting their run in the second on a double by Dwayne Walker and a single by Johnny Bench. Gardenhire swings and pops it up. Danny Dreesen moving down the first base line. Fair territory. He has it, 1 away. 1 down, and pitcher Mike Scott to the plate. Scott, an .080 batting average, driven in 2 runs, and has a double. Scott, a right-handed batter. Smokey Wilson moves on deck. Seaver to the plate. Scott takes it low and outside. Ball 1. Tom into the wind. The 1-1. Strike called. Now evens a ball, a strike. 1-2 to count to Mike Scott. Seaver into the line. He delivers the 1-2, and that's swung on and lined into right center field, a base hit. Dwayne Walker can't cut it off, and Eddie Milner does, but Scott will coast into second with a stand-up double. That looked like a fairly decent pitch, a breaking ball, but Scott reached out and lined it to right center field. Second hit of the game for New York. Here's Mookie Wilson. Wilson struck out leading off the game. .297 batting average for Wilson. 1 away, and Scott at second base. John Stearns up next. Seaver sets to check a Scott, and the pitch. Wilson swings and fouls back to the screen. Both New York hits, extra base hits. Foster's home run in the first, and now Scott's one-out double here in the third. Seaver delivers. Wilson takes high. Now it evens 1-1. Kansas City scored 3 runs in the first inning in Yankee Stadium. Wilson swings and fouls back and over the screen, and the count of ball 2 strikes. Al McRae, a 2-run homer in that one in the first inning. The Yankees did not score in the bottom half of the inning. National League after 3 at Pittsburgh. Pirates leading 1-0 over the Padres. Seaver's 1-2 pitch swung on and grounded slowly. Charging is Concepcion. Up and throwing, got him. Scott holds at second, 2 away, and John Stearns the batter. Now Davey, charging the ball hard, came up throwing and got Wilson easily at first. Stearns in the first inning, a fly ball to Dwayne Walker in right field. John hitting .319. Seaver sets, delivers. Stearns takes it, just a bit high, and it's 1-0. A 1-0 delivery. Stearns swings and chops it slowly. Third base side. Bench charging, and he'll not throw, and that'll be an infield single for John Stearns. Scott holding at second. That's the third hit of the game for New York, and here's George Foster. George hit his 7th home run of the year in the first inning. Each team with 3 hits now. Foster came into the game hitting .247. Waiting on George to settle into the batter's box. Seaver has the sign. He delivers, and Foster swings and fouls back to the screen. George has had 47, now 48 hits and 171 times the plate. Oh, 1. Swung on, that's fouled back to the screen, and Seaver in front 0-2 to George Foster. Dave Kingman, the on-deck batter with 2 away. Foster out of the batter's box, now back in. Seaver has his sign. Check of the runners, the pitch. Swung on, it popped up, but that's going to drop into the seats off to the right of the plate. Mets with Scott at second, Stearns at first, 2 away. Tied 1-1. Barry hangs the sign. Seaver to the belt. Again, the 0-2. That's down low. And the count of ball 2 strikes to Foster. Outfield plays. Infield straightaway also. Bench is deep at third. Again, they pitch inside. Down evens 2-2. Seaver shakes off a sign from O'Barry. Shakes another off. And now the stretch. And the pitch. Swung on and bounced off the third baseline. Not fouled by much. The count holds 2-2 to George Foster. Waiting on John Stearns to return to first base. Frank Howard, the third base coach for the Mets. Buddy Harrelson at first. Seaver ready, and again the 2-2. Foster swings and hits it off the end of the bat and floats it into left center field. That'll score Scott, and the Mets take a 2-1 lead. George hit that one right off the end of the bat and over the head of Dave Concepcion to score Mike Scott from second base. Stearns moves around to third, and the Mets lead at 2-1. Foster has driven in both runs. George 2 for 2 now. 4 hits in the game for New York, and here's Dave Kingman. Kingman struck out to end the first inning. Waiting on Kingman, Dave with the pine tar rag, and now heads to the plate. So a 1-out double by Scott. A 2-out single by Stearns and a single by Foster produces the second run of the game for New York. Outfield playing Kingman straight away, but the infield pulled around to the left. Oster almost behind the second base bag. Pitch to Kingman, swung on and missed. Dave hitting only .214, but has 14 home runs and 38 RBIs. Every time he swings the bat, it's a threat. Struck out, 55 times this year. The pitch inside, 1-1. .55 times and 168 times to the plate. You wouldn't think a guy'd be dangerous with that kind of stat, but I'll guarantee you
that is still a boatload of strikeouts.
Yeah, but he's got a boatload of RBIs too. 1-1. Outside with a slider, and Seaver behind, 2-1 to Dave Kingman. New York with Foster at first base, Stearns at third. They've scored a run here in the inning. Charlie Leibrandt will head to the Reds bullpen to start throwing. Sets the 2-1. Kingman swings, ground ball, bench has it at third. Flips to Oster, they force Foster, and that's the inning. For the Mets in the third, they get a run on 3 hits. No errors, 2 runners left on. Middle of the third, New York 2, Cincinnati 1.
Some people love sports just like we do. That's why we do what we do. We bring these games to you.
Some people love sports just like we do. You bet they do. And that's why Marathon Oil brings all these games to you.
Yeah, people love sports, hearing them play, rooting them home, all the way. Yeah, people love sports, and Marathon brings them to you.
Yeah, we really love sports, and that's why this game's brought to you by the Marathon Oil Company. Because we like what you like. A good game, good friends, and good service for your car. See your Marathon man. He probably likes what you like too.
Some people love sports.
Yes, they do.
Just like we do.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah, people love sports, and Marathon brings them to you.
Marathon Oil Company. Still together, still doing it better.
Right now, when you purchase a weed trimmer from your Steel dealer, you'll get a kit of accessories free. It includes things like a toolbox, blade attachments, gloves, and engine oil. But the main reason you'll want to buy a Steel is that it's a high-performance gas-powered weed and brush trimming machine. So for the best-made trimmer plus a free kit of accessories worth up to $45, go see your participating Steel dealer. You'll find him in the yellow pages under saws.
Nothing works as hard as Steel.
Now the Reds start through their lineup for the second time. Eddie Milner to lead it off. Eddie was thrown out on the bunt attempt. He tried to drag one first base side, but Mike Scott off the mound to field it easily. Eddie hitting .252 with 2 home runs and 12 RBIs. Scott working and Milner taking. High and outside, a ball. Eddie hit both of his home runs in Montreal last weekend. He swings, lines it into left center field, and it's going to get by Mookie Wilson. Milner to second. He'll make 3 easily. Eddie on his way to third, and they have trouble picking it up, and they'll hold Milner at third with a triple. Now, Russ Nixon not gambling with the leadoff batter, so Milner's at third base. His second triple of the year, and the batter will be Ron Oster. Mookie Wilson, not used to the wet turf, and he more or less coasted over, and that ball is shot by Mookie and onto the fence. And had problems picking it up in deep left center field. So Milner at third. Nobody out, and Ron Oster the batter. Ron a bunt single in the first inning. Scott the stretch. And the pitch, and Oster swings and fouls. Straight back. On 1 to count to Ron Oster. Ron has been having a difficult time at the plate. Hopefully he'll get going with that bunt. Ups his average to 261 with the base hit in the first inning. Scott delivers. It's low and inside and bounces away from John Stearns. Make it a foul tip, actually, and it's 0-2 to Ron Oster. So the reason for Stearns bobbling the ball, a foul tip. So 0-2 the count. Concepcion on deck. Scott sets and delivers, and that's swung on and line foul off to the left. The count holds 0-2 to Ron Oster. Well, Skeeter Barnes of Waterbury leads the Eastern League in hits with 58, doubles 16, RBIs with 44. A 341 batting average. Skeeter, a former University of Cincinnati player, swinging a foul by Oster. 0-2 the count. Augie Freed. One thing about Gene Freed, he couldn't pull at all. Always hit the opposite way. 0-2 the count. Milner down the line at third. Scott sets and delivers. Oster swings and again fouls, backing out of play. Davey Concepcion waiting on deck. Milner led off the inning with a triple to left center field. Our problem tomorrow, we just stay early. Again, the stretch by Scott. And the 0-2 again. Ron takes it just outside a fastball, and the count goes 1-2. Milner at third. Nobody out. Scott delivers the 1-2, and Oster takes high and inside this time. The count evens 2-2. First to 3 with the Mets tomorrow night, and then we'll wind up the brief homestand Sunday afternoon. Two-two delivery, swung on and fouled, rolling over the screening in front of the Reds dugout, and Ron Oster has to head back to the dugout to get a new piece of timber. Count holding 2-2 to 0. Milner at third. Eddie led off the inning with a triple to left center field. Ron, who uses that rubber donut in the handle of the bat, and wants to transfer it. Oster back to the plate. The count 2-2. Fouled off several Mike Scott pitches. Ron has driven in 15 runs this year. Scott the stretch. And the 2-2. Going inside. Full count to Oster. So after being 0-2 to Ron, Scott has gone full. Scott wants another baseball from plate umpire Nick Pelosi. Got the stretch. And the pitch. Oster swings and lines it into left center field, but Ellis Valentine makes George Foster makes a sliding catch. Milner tags and scores. A fine defensive play by George Foster in left field. George actually went to the turf to catch that one. Now the Reds tie it up as Oster gets his 16th RBI on the sacrifice fly. One away, and Davy Concepcion, the batter. Bases now empty. Davy walked in the first inning. Scott working and Davy taking. High and inside, a ball. Scott delivers the 1-0. Swung on and fouled, and the count evens 1-1. Scores tied 2-2. Each team with 4 hits. 1-1 delivery. David looks at a curveball that's low. 2-1. Here's the 2-1. Dave swings and bounces to Baylor at third. His throw to Kingman into dirt, but dug out by Dave for out number 2. 2 away, and Danny Dreesen steps in. Danny ended the inning, the first inning, by forcing Concepcion at second. Dreesen leads the Reds in RBIs with 25 and home runs with 7, and batting average, he has a .307 average. A wind to pitch. Dreesen swings and grounds it in the hole into right field, a base hit. Ellis Valentine plays it back to the infield, and that is hit number 5 for the Reds. That brings Mike Vail to the plate. For Danny, that extends his hitting streak to 5 straight. Vail has hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games. 11 for 24, good for a .458 batting average in that period. Got ready. Delivers. Vail swings and fouls it back and into the upper deck. Mike in the second inning leading off a fly ball to Foster in left field. He'll throw over there, and Danny steps back. Well, blue skies overhead now. Hope they stay. 0-1 to Vail. Scott to the belt. And delivers, and Vail swings and hits it hard to center field, but Mookie Wilson drifting back. On the warning track, he hauls it in. So Vail hit that one on the button, but Mookie Wilson catches up with it in the middle of the warning track. The Reds in the inning, a run on 2 hits. There were no errors, a runner left on, and the end of 3. The Reds 2 and the Mets 2.
The Gold Stars are here. Grange Mutual and the Steinbrook Insurance Agency at 24 South London in Mount Sterling believe it's high time that somebody does something for the good guys, and that's why they're awarding Gold Star discounts to the same Grange auto policy in effect for 3, 4, or 5 consecutive years without an at-fault accident. These Gold Star Merit Awards save you 10 to 20% on your auto premiums. For Grange Gold Star discounts, call Roger or Susan Steinbrook at 877-9441 for London and Columbus, or 869-2712 in Mount Sterling.
Electrical, aerospace, mechanical, civil, nuclear, electrical, aerospace, mechanical, civil, nuclear, electrical.
If you're studying to become an engineer in any of these fields, the Air Force has a new program to finance all or part of your senior year. To those qualified, it means a generous salary and entitlements, plus guaranteed entrance into officer training school. For more information, contact your local Air Force recruiter.
Air Force.
The 4th inning, the Mets will send up Ellis Valentine, Bob Baylor, and Wally Backman to face Tom Seaver. New York with 4 hits in the game. They scored a run in the first on Foster's home run. They scored in the third when Scott doubled, and eventually scored on Foster's single to left center field. Tom has struck out 3. Has not walked the batter. Seaver having a word with plate umpire Nick Colosi. Valentine in the second inning leading off, grounded to Concepcion at short. Waiting on Ellis to settle into the batter's box. He's there, and Seaver waiting on the sign from O'Berry. Shakes one off, now winds and delivers. Valentine takes it inside, ball 1. New York, 27 wins, 23 losses, playing their 51st game of the year. The pitch, that's in the dirt, and the count goes 2-0 to Ellis Valentine. Bob Baylor on deck. Tom's 2-0 pitch. Valentine swings a broken bat. Fly ball to left field. Mike Vail makes the catch as the barrel of the bat winds up out at third base where Bench picks it up. And he really got sawed off in that one. The handle of the bat laying on the first baseline. A one away, and here's third baseman Bob Baylor. Baylor in the second inning. After the count went 3-0, Tom came back to get him on a fly ball to Miller in center field. Baylor hitting .341. A wind the pitch. Baylor takes it just inside, ball 1. One-0. Strike called. Not even at 1-1 to Baylor. Seaver delivers the 1-1. Baylor swings and misses a breaking ball away. Tom in front, a ball, 2 strikes to the New York third baseman. He's ready and delivers the 1-2, and Baylor swings, fouls that one off the end of the bat. Now holding it, a ball, 2 strikes. Tied up here in the fourth, 2-2. Again, the 1-2. Baylor swings and misses a pitch down and away, and Seaver has his 4th strikeout. A 2 away here in the fourth for New York, and the batter is second baseman Wally Backman. Backman struck out to end the second inning. Backman, a left-handed batter, actually a switch hitter, left-handed, hitting .317, and right-handed does not have a base hit. He's been to the plate 5 times right-handed, 104 times left-handed. Seaver, the 1-0. Strike call. Good fastball. Two out, bases empty. Reds outfield shading Backman around to the left. Slow curveball, grounded to Oster at second. Rounded on to Dreesen, and that takes care of the Mets. They go out in order, and at the middle of the fourth, it's the Reds 2 and the Mets 2.
Here's Janie Fricke for Busch Beer.
It's that time of day when you can say, come on and head for the mountains. You know the best is coming your way. Head for Busch Beer. Reach out, it's here. It's time to head for the mountains. The taste is smooth and waiting for you. Head for the mountains. Head for the mountains.
Tied up 2-2 as the Reds bat in the bottom half of the fourth. It'll be Dwayne Walker to lead it off and walk double high off the right center field fence in the second and scored on Johnny Bench's single to right center. For Walker, his first major league base hit and just missed by inches of making it a home run. The Reds have had 5 hits off Mike Scott. Just 2 extra base hits, Walker's double and Eddie Milner's triple. Walker leads it off. Then Bench, and then O'Berry here in the fourth inning. New York outfield will swing around to the right for Walker. They give Dwayne some room in left center field as Foster moves back toward the left field line, and he's about straight away. The pitch swung on and shot in the hole into right field, and Walker's 2 for 2. Valentine returns it to the infield, and the Reds have their 6th hit off Scott. So Dwayne doesn't mess around. He jumps on the first pitch and shoots it into right. Here's Johnny Bench, and John hit one off the end of the bat into right center to score Walker in the second inning. Boy, you'd sure like to see this big guy get hot. Walker at first base, the stretch by Scott. He delivers to Bench, and John takes it outside a ball. Pittsburgh leading San Diego 3-2 in the 5th inning. Perry Kennedy is homered for San Diego. Throw over to first. Walker steps back, and Bill Robinson for Pittsburgh. Another throw over to first, and again Walker back. Well, Mike Scott, he throws over to first as much as anyone in the league. A 1-0 to Bench. John swings and a fly ball to right field. Valentine waiting, and he has it. 1 away, and we'll pause for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Network.
Hi, I'm Bill DeWeese. Join me weekday mornings from 6:30 until 9 for music and news, right here on Contemporary Christian Radio, WSYX London.
Mike O'Berry at the plate. Mike called out on strikes in the second as Scott sets and delivers, and O'Berry takes it low and outside a ball. O'Berry, a .250 batting average. Mike has driven in 3 runs and has 2 doubles. Throw it at first. Walker's back. Again, the stretch by Scott. And the pitch. O'Berry takes it down low, and it's 2-0. Tom Seaver moves on deck. Underway in St. Louis, the Dodgers and the Cardinals, no score, second. Same story at Houston, no score, the Phils and the Astros. Another throw over to first, and now Kingman will go to the mound to clean his spikes. Down 2-0 to O'Berry. Kingman back to his position at first base. Scott onto the pitching rubber and looks to John Stearns for the sign. The stretch. And the 2-0, O'Berry takes it inside. 3 balls, no strikes to Mike O'Berry. Scott has walked 1. That was Dave Concepcion in the first inning. Three-0 delivery at high, ball 4, and Mike O'Berry draws the 1-out walk from Scott. That'll move Walker to second base, and the batter is Tom Seaver. Eddie Milner on deck. some activity down in the New York bullpen. Tom Hausman will start throwing, a right-hander. Seaver at the plate, and Tom will probably be bunting. We'll see. And he squares the bunt and fouls. Baylor not charging at third, and Kingman a light charge at first. And Tom trying to cross him up and drag the ball, but fouled it away. We also get a lefty throwing. Jesse Orozco will start throwing. The 0-1, Seaver squares, bunts first base side. It's a fair ball. Kingman up, and he'll put the tag on Seaver as Tom tries to avoid him. Well, the runners move up, and that'll bring Eddie Milner to the plate with 2 out. And here's a situation we have been through many times, and hopefully Eddie can come through with a big base hit here. Milner 1 for 2. He put out a bunt in the first, was thrown out by Scott, then tripled to left center in the third and scored the second run of the game for the Reds. Scott ready and delivers, and Milner swings and pulls it foul down the right field line. That one's going to settle into the seats. 0-1. Reds with Walker at third, O'Barry at second. 2 away. Out to the belt. The 0-1. That's low and outside. Count evens, a ball, a strike. That's a 1-1. Milner takes it inside. 2 balls, a strike. Scott has the sign. The 2-1. Milner takes ball 3 down low. Well, 3-1 now to Eddie Milner with Ron Oster on deck. Milner looks at ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Ron Oster. Third walk issued by Mike Scott, the second here in the inning, and that gets George Bamberger up off the bench. Bambi walking around, and now Stearns will go out to the mound to have a word with Mike Scott. Scott has walked 17 in 66 innings coming into tonight's game. Roscoe and Hausman throwing in a New York bullpen. Scott will work from the windup. He delivers to Oster, and Ron swings and fouls out of play. Reds with Milner at first, O'Barry at second, Walker at third. Shakes off a sign from Stearns, and now the 0-1. Swung on and hit in the right center field. That's a base hit. 2 runs to score. Milner on his way to third. He'll go in standing, and the Reds lead it 4-2. And boy, that's something we've been sorely missing, and Ron Oster comes through. Ron is third RBI of the game, and the Reds lead it 4-2. And we'll see if we have any. One coming out of the New York dugout. George Bamberger standing on the edge of the step, but it looks like he's going to give Mike Scott one more batter. Walker scores, O'Barry scores, Milner at third, Oster at first, 4-2 the Reds lead. For Oster, he now has 18 RBIs on the year. Reds now with 7 hits in the game. A throw over to first, and Oster's back. Concepcion 0 for 1. He walked in the first and bounced to third in the third. The stretch and the pitch, and Davey swings and misses. The Reds pick up 2 here in the inning, and with a possible couple more. 0-1, curve swung on, that's grounded to Baylor. He'll go to second. They force Oster, and that's the inning. But the Reds got a couple of runs on 2 hits. There were no errors. 2 runners left on, and at the end of 4, Cincinnati 4, New York 2.
You'll find the best automotive buy in America today available in Columbus at Honda East. The beautiful new Honda automobiles are fuel efficient and geared to meet the needs of today's economy-minded families. At Honda East, you'll appreciate quality service that begins the moment you enter. Quality service you can depend on for as long as you own a Honda. At Honda East, customer return is their main concern. Stop by Honda East today and test drive a new Honda automobile, the car that saves you money. Located just east of Columbus off Bryce Road and I-70 on Scarborough Boulevard.
The Columbus area Sears surplus stores have something for you. That's everyday savings of 30 to 60% off Sears quality merchandise. Choose from hundreds of overstocked and discontinued clothing items, hardware and home fashions priced right for you. Shop every day at Sears surplus stores, 3 locations. West in the Distribution Center on Fisher Road, the University City Shopping Center, and Whitehall and East Broad at Hamilton Road.
We've got something very special just for you.
4 innings total show the Mets 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. The Reds 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. For the Mets, it'll be Ron Gardenhire to lead it off as we go to the 5th inning, and back with the action, Marty Brenham.
Thank you, Joe. Gardenhire 0 for 1 tonight. He led off the third and popped up to Danny Dreesen at first base. Now the Reds have taken the lead for the first time tonight after the Mets led 1-0, then led 2-1. Each time the Reds came back to tie it up, and then the Ron Oster 2-out, 2-run single in the 4th inning has given Tom Seaver a deuce with which to work. Updating some scores in the National League. At the end of 4.5 at Pittsburgh, the Padres have just finished scoring 3 times to take the 5-3 lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Philadelphia and Houston have played 2.5 innings of scoreless baseball, with Carlton hooking up with Necro, as have the Dodgers and the Cardinals, with Dave Stewart against Bob Forsch. Again, the afternoon final, Giants beat the Cubs 4-3 to send Chicago down to its 5th consecutive loss. 4 of the Mets selected in the club's original expansion draft of October 1961 came from the Reds. Can you name them? 4 of those players came from the Reds in the 61 expansion draft. Who are they? The first pitch to Gardenhire is a pitch fastball high for ball 1. In the American League, Cleveland 3, Toronto 1. That's in the bottom of the 4th inning. Todd Cruz is homered for Seattle to give the Mariners a 1-0 lead in Detroit after 4.5. Here's a high pop-up, playable. Off the third base line, O'Berry and Bench takes charge and makes the catch. Now Mike Scott, and he got them started in the 3rd inning with a double to right center field and came in to score later on a George Foster single. Kansas City 4-0 over New York. 3 in the 1st, 1 in the 4th. After 1.5 in Texas, Rangers 2, Chicago 0. The White Sox have lost 7 straight. And the winningest pitcher in baseball, Lamar Hoyt, trying to win his 10th game of the year and stop that White Sox skid. Scott takes ball 1. Baltimore, Minnesota, 0-0 after 2. Oh, you've been brought up to date on what's going on in both the National and American Leagues elsewhere tonight. Inside corner, strike 1 call, 1-1 to count. Foster homered in the 1st. Foster singled in Scott in the 3rd. The 2 New York runs, while the Reds got 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and 2 in the 4th inning. And they've out-hit the Mets 7-4. Seaver brings a 1-1 pitch, and it swung out and missed. Tom in front, of ball, 2 strikes. Strike 3 call. Got him looking at a fastball, and Seaver has number 5. Hey, if you're going to be in downtown Cincinnati tomorrow, stop by the Westin Hotel and check out the display of Reds art and memorabilia. Hall of Fame plaques of the 12 Reds old-timers in town this weekend will be on display, along with some Reds fine art, the bronze statues of Bench and Seaver, all the Reds art prints in the series of greatest moments in Reds history. Stop by tomorrow, the lobby of the Westin Hotel on Fountain Square South in downtown Cincinnati. 2 out in the inning. Mookie Wilson is 0 for 2. Ball 1. The Seaver has now struck out 5 and has not walked a batter. Wilson hits one off the bat handle into left, coming on Vail. He's got it, and that's the inning. Now, Tom has retired the Mets for the 3rd time in order tonight. He's on a roll. 7 in a row he is retired. At the end of 4 1/2, the Reds lead New York 4-2.
Get set for fun. Cincinnati's Festival of Festivals is almost ready to begin. It's Summer Fair, Saturday and Sunday, June 12th and 13th. Cincinnati's only arts and crafts fair. And again this year, Conn's Wieners are the official hot dog of Summer Fair. They're the same Conn's Great Meat Wieners fans enjoy at Riverfront Stadium, the official hot dog of the Cincinnati Reds. And Conn's Wieners truly are made with great meat. Select cuts of lean, tender beef and juicy pork. No meat byproducts, no non-meat binders, no cereal fillers ever in Conn's. Just great meat, seasoned just right to bring out the natural flavor of the meat. Be sure to enjoy Conn's Great Meat Wieners at Cincinnati's Great Riverfront event, Summer Fair. Come to Summer Fair Saturday and Sunday, June 12th and 13th. Enjoy the exhibits and entertainment along with Conn's hot dogs. Join the Summer Fair fun on the riverfront. Parking is free in all stadium facilities.
When you need a trimmer for everything from weeds to heavy brush, buy a trimmer from Steel. It's a hard-working machine backed by a hard-working Steel dealer. He's there when you buy it and if you ever need service. So check the yellow pages under saws for your nearest Steel trimmer and chainsaw dealer.
If that's the hardest working gas-powered trimming machine, then that can only mean
That's right. It's a trimmer from Steel.
nothing works as hard as Steel.
Well, it'll be Danny Dreesen lead off the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Reds leading. Mike Scott and the Mets 4-2. Again, the reminder, Sunday is going to be the big day here at the ballpark for more than 30 all-time favorite Reds players. As the Reds present that old-timers game, it'll be featuring a team from the 50s against a team from the 1960s. Here's a pitch to Dreesen, and Danny takes it high ball. Some of the old-timers, as we mentioned earlier, have already begun arriving in town. We've seen Bertie Tebbetts, who managed that 1956 ball club. Ed Bailey's on hand already. Swing at a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Smokey Burgess, Chuck Harmon, Ray Jablonski, of course, Ted Kluszewski, Brooks Lawrence. Jim Brosnan already in town. Pitches up high to Danny. 2 balls and a strike. Gordy Coleman, Gene Freese stopped by the radio booth earlier tonight. Kenny Johnson we talked to on our pregame show. Jim O'Toole, Bob Perkey. 2-1 pitch. That's outside and a high, ball 3. If you're coming Sunday, you certainly want to plan to get to the ballpark early. The old-timers will take batting practice in infield beginning at 12:20. Dreesen fouls off the 3-1 pitch, and we'll have the introductions at 1 o'clock, and then it'll be the 3-inning old-timers game. Now, this Sunday afternoon here at the ballpark is a day you certainly won't want to miss. Come early for the old-timers game and then catch the Reds against the Mets. Frank Pastore against Randy Jones. Dreesen fouls the payoff pitch behind the plate. Tomorrow night, 7:05, Charlie Puleo goes for New York. Mario Soto for Cincinnati. National League strikeout leader going into play tonight, but Steve Carlton pitching in Houston. Another foul back by Dreesen. Soto fanning 7 before being ejected from the Monday night game in Philadelphia. Well, Carlton getting a break of sorts in that department, and he went into that start in Houston tonight 9 back of Dreesen, Soto, 94-85. 3-2 pitch again. Hard smash, base hit, right center field. Over to cut it off, Mookie Wilson. And Danny Dreesen just hitting bullets more often than not every time he makes contact. Well, that's base hit number 8 for Cincinnati. Bringing up Mike Vail, who's flied to left field. And then in the 3rd, with 2 outs, he drove Wilson right to the wall and straightaway center field to haul down a deep drive. That base hit by Dreesen's going to get things cooking again in the Mets bullpen, and again it'll be right-hander Tom Hausman to throw along with left-hander Jesse Orozco. Well, Scott starts into the stretch motion, but Vail calls time and backs away from the plate. Reds have had hits in every inning. There's a throw to first. Kingman accepts it, and Dreesen steps back to the bag. Now to Vail. Check swing on a pitch up and in. And the first base umpire, Pulley, says he went around on that one. Pitch was up and in on Vail, and Frank Pulley rings up the strike. John McNamara walking down toward that end of the dugout, and normally when you see the skip go down that way, he's got a word or two for the first base umpire. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Scott has had problems getting ahead of hitters in this game, and boy, that really puts you at a decided disadvantage if you're a pitcher up here in the big leagues. You can't consistently work behind the hitters and expect to consistently pitch well, but that's been the problem this season off and on for Mike Scott. He'll have a good game and then have a bad one. He has things going his way against Vail, and he comes high and inside with a pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the home half of the 5th inning, a game delayed 19 minutes because of rain at the beginning. And Cincinnati leading right now 4-2. Dreesen at first, nobody out. Vail grounds one to the mound, speared by Scott. He'll throw to Gardenhire, who will throw to Kingman to get a double play. 1-6-3 as the Mets turn the first double play of the night. 2-out batter will be Dwayne Walker, and Walker having quite a night. He has doubled and scored. He has singled and scored. His first 2 major league base hits coming off Mets right-hander Mike Scott, and he's up there for the 3rd time. Of course, it was Walker who led off the Reds' 6th inning last night in Indianapolis with a long home run to right. Up to that point, it was a 0-0 game. Scott comes high, a ball. Tom Hausman and Jesse Orozco, a right-hander and a left-hander, continue to throw in the Mets bullpen. Walker takes a strike. Prior to this game, Dwayne had gone to the plate 3 times without a base hit. In his major league debut, he struck out and put down a sacrifice bunt before having to be lifted because of that hamstring pull. That one bouncing up there and away from John Stearns. 2-1. Two outs, the bases are empty. Walker waves the bat around. Native Texan waiting on Scott, who checks in with John Stearns. Here's the windup in the pitch. Swung on a ground ball to the right side, but this time there to play it Wally Backman. He throws him out. The inning is over. No runs, 1 hit. At the end of 5, Reds 4, New York 2.
This is Hoyt Axton for Busch Beer. It's that time of day when you can say, come on and head for the mountain. You know the best is coming your way. Head for Busch Beer. Reach out, it's here. It's time to head for the mountain. The taste is smooth and waiting for you.
Waiting for you.
Head for the mountain. Head for the mountain. Head for Busch Beer. Head for Busch Beer. Head for Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Now you can have the best seats even before you get to the game in a 1982 Honda Accord hatchback. It's bigger and more luxurious, and it rides smoother and quieter with more total economy. The new Accord also scores high on standard features. So visit your Honda dealer soon and reserve your seat.
Honda, we make it simple.
Joe Nuxall, yours truly, Marty Brenneman, as we move to the 6th inning. And the answer to the scoreboard stuffer tonight, the 4 players selected by the Mets in their original draft of 1961 from Cincinnati were pitchers Jay Hook and Sherman Roadblock Jones, outfielder Gus Bell, and infielder Elio Chacon. You get all 4 of them right?
Nope. Sherman Roadblock.
Missed old Roadblock, huh? Here's John Stearns to lead off the inning for New York, and he takes a pitch inside. Stearns flied out in the 1st inning and had a swinging bunt down the 3rd baseline his last time up. That's catcher 1 for 2. Inside again, 2 balls and no strikes. Seaver has retired 7 batters in a row since the George Foster single that drove in the Mets' 2nd run back in the 3rd. Ground ball by Bench down the left field line. That's a base hit. Mike Vail after turn, and the throw from deep in the left field corner will not nearly be in time. A leadoff double by John Stearns, base hit number 5 for New York. Well, George Foster beating up on his former club, a home run and a single to drive in the 2 New York runs, and he's up there now in another run-producing situation as O'Berry goes to the mound and comes back very quickly. And now time called by Mets first base coach Buddy Harrelson. He goes out and retrieves John Stearns' batting glove. If you're going to be at Riverfront tomorrow evening or especially Sunday afternoon, be sure to pick up a copy of the Red Scorebook. The game program for this weekend's 3 games has a special 4-page insert with information about the old-timers here for Sunday's game. It's very informative. Here's a pitch to Foster. Up and in, ball 1. Gives you a bit of information about some of the accomplishments of each of the players in their years with the Cincinnati Ball Club, and also tells you what all of them are doing today, what their occupations are. Down low, 2-0. Well, we sure saw this man hit many, many home runs in this ballpark. All over the league, for that matter. Checking Stearns, Seaver. Foster takes high and tight, ball 3. Well, he loses George. He's got to face the 2nd-ranking home run hitter in the National League, who's on deck, Dave Kingman. Foster away from the plate, straddles the batter's box, puts the head of the bat on the plate, and he's ready. Here's Seaver. Strike 1 call, fastball away, 3-1. Stearns a good lead out at second base. Seaver a long look to him, and Foster bangs one into left field, base hit. Frank Howard's going to hold Stearns up at third. Foster 3 for 3, and the Mets have 2 on with none out. Kingman will come to the plate, and we'll pause for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Network.
Hello, I'm Jason Beatty. Spend your weekday evenings with me from 10 to midnight and on Sundays from 6 to midnight on FM 106 WSYX London.
Score Stearns from second base on Foster's hit to left field, but now Kingman will take his whacks as Charlie Lebrand, for the second time tonight, is getting ready in the Cincinnati bullpen. Kingman is struck out, hit into a force play. The pitch, and he tries to bunt and fouls it back. I don't know.
I'd rather see that.
You got a point, Coach.
How many When he's doing that, I know he can't. He won't go out.
No. Unless he bunts it very hard. Stearns at third, Foster at first. Seaver in trouble here in the sixth inning, trying to protect the two-run lead. And here's another bunt attempt by Kingman, and strike two. Big Frank Howard banging his hands together in the third base coaching box as Kingman twice now has tried to put down a bunt and has misfired both times. A foul back and a out-and-out miss. Ellis Valentine will follow Kingman to the plate. The infield, a double play depth. Seaver kicks and throws. Kingman takes it way high for a ball. Pirates pick up another run on a Rick Roden home run, but still trail by 1 to San Diego 5-4 after 5.5. Kingman strikes out swinging. Got him chasing a pitch away. Tom picks up his sixth. And now faces Ellis Valentine, and he's gotten him twice tonight on a ground ball to shortstop and a fly ball to left field. Well, the 6 strikeouts represent a season's high for Tom. Previously, 5 had been his best, and that was 5 days ago in Montreal. Valentine takes it off the plate, a ball. After giving up a double to Stearns, a single to Foster. Seaver a third of the way home towards keeping the Mets off the boards as he throws a 1-0 to Valentine. Fly ball center field. That's going to be deep enough to get Stearns in. Short of the warning track, Milner has it. Stearns tags and scores, and it is a 1-run ball game. Foster will hold at first. Credit Ellis Valentine with his 9th run batted in. And that brings to the plate the third baseman, Bob Baylor. Baylor has flied out and struck out in 2 trips. Montreal and Atlanta, as we mentioned earlier, were rained out tonight down in Atlanta. So if the Reds can win this game, and right now their lead has been shaved to 1, they would move to within 8.5 games of first place. Call strike. Giants winning today. San Diego beating Pittsburgh. Dodgers and the Cardinals are scoreless. Philly and Houston 0-0. Maybe there's a change in that score. Dodgers get 2 runs in the 4th inning at the expense of Bob Forsch and lead the Cardinals 2-0. And call the Reds office at Riverfront if you need information. Schmidt a foul back. Well, you talk about your bad starts. Philadelphia in the month of April won 6 and lost 13. But then an almost complete turnaround, if anything much better. They closed out the month of May last night with their 19th win in May against only 8 losses. So it can be done. Now back in the 3rd when they scored their 2nd run. This one fouled out of play by Baylor. Another 6 hits. Foster's had 3, a home run and 2 singles. Conversing with his old buddy Danny Dreesen down at first base. Seaver trying to get the measure of Bob Baylor and end this New York 6th inning. He fires to the plate, and Baylor loops one into shallow center. That's going to drop. Foster will move on to second, and New York now has him at first and second base for their second baseman, Wally Backman. Backman has struck out and grounded to second base in the game. Reds Radio Network brings Reds baseball to fans in 7 states. You can hear Reds games in Bowling Green, Kentucky on WLBJ, in Columbus, Ohio on WMNI, in Bluefield, West Virginia on WHIS, and in West Palm Beach, Florida on WEAT. 2 men on, 2 men out. The left-handed batting Backman swings and fouls. Jesse Orozco has started back up for New York. as we get down toward the end of the Mets batting order, Ron Gardenhire would follow Bachman, and then it would be the pitcher, Mike Scott. So after 2 perfect innings, the 4th and the 5th, Seaver running into problems here in the 6th. Bachman swings and misses at a pitch in on him. Strike 2. George Bamberger very happy with the blend that he has on this club. That is the youth and the veterans, the youngsters like Bachman and Gardenhire, and of course Foster, Kingman, Valentine, Stearns, some of the others. Pitches high, a ball. One factor that has been relatively inconsistent has been the pitching. Randy Jones has been beat up on pretty good his last 2 times out. The winningest pitcher on the Mets staff was 6. This one line foul over third and down into the Mets bullpen. It'll be Jones on the mound Sunday afternoon. He'll be striving for his 7th win of the season. And of course, 7 victories is the top figure in the National League, and 7 held by 3 pitchers, Don Sutton, Steve Rogers, and Fernando Valenzuela. Bob Force of the Cardinals trying to pick up his 7th tonight, but trailing the Dodgers 2-0. That's in the dirt, and it's even on Bachman at 2-2. At second base, with the potential tying run, George Foster. At first base, Bob Baylor. Bachman lines one to left field. Bale running hard. He got it. Mike Bale made a diving catch in fair territory and then skids across the foul line. Well, there you have the defensive play of the night as Mike Bale took away extra bases from Wally Bachman and kept the Reds' 1-run lead intact. 1 run for New York, 3 hits, 2 left. Bale getting a standing ovation in the middle of the 6th inning. 4-3 Cincinnati.
Gee, it's good to be back here again. At the ball game in Cincinnati again. Back where my heart has always been. Cincinnati Reds playing baseball again.
Baseball is like an old friend. The longer it's part of your life, the more you like it. That's why so many people come out to see the Cincinnati Reds play. It feels good. The Marathon Oil Company loves baseball just like you do. And the Marathon Oil Company is proud to be here with the Cincinnati Reds.
Feels good to be back here again.
Oh, you know it is.
With the Cincinnati Reds playing baseball again.
The Cincinnati Reds and the Marathon Oil Company. We got together to do it better, and we did.
Don't forget the Reds and the Mets here at Riverfront tomorrow night at 7:05 and Sunday afternoon at 2:15. Next week we'll be in San Diego and L.A., and then it'll be back home Tuesday night, June 15th, for one of the longest homestands of the year. First, the Giants for 3, including a business day special on Thursday, June 17th. After that, 4 big ones with the Dodgers. Should be quite a weekend series. Then the Padres make their first visit of the year for 3 games, and in late June, a big weekend with Atlanta. Don't miss Country Music Night on Saturday, June 26th, and Ball Day on Sunday, June 27th. Johnny Bench, first pitch hitting, fly ball center field. Routine play for Mookie Wilson. He hauls it in. One pitch and 1 out. That brings up Mike O'Berry. Mike has struck out, walked, and has scored a run. The Reds leading 4-3 here in the 6th inning. In what will probably be the final inning of work for Mike Scott. Jesse Orozco continues to throw in their bullpen, and Scott would be the second batter scheduled to hit in the 7th. 4-1. Well, the Mets have had the lead twice tonight. They couldn't hold it. The Reds now have a lead of 1 run and trying to hang on. Maybe get some more as the pitch is fouled back and over the screen. A ball and a strike. might be interested to know that Tommy Hume has been pronounced fit to pitch, and if necessary, John McNamara can go to him tonight. 2 balls and a strike. Tommy suffering a strained left knee up in Montreal and was not available at all for the Philadelphia series and for the last 2 games, well, 3 games rather, in Montreal. So it's a welcome addition with Tommy Hume ready and returning to the Reds bullpen. Scott's pitch. O'Berry taking strike 2. Tom Seaver coming up next. Charlie Leibrandt stopped throwing in the bullpen after that great catch by Mike Vail. A breaking ball is low and inside, and a full count. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Ball dropped by Stearns. He picks it up and throws on to Kingman to complete the strikeout. Here's Seaver with 2 out, and that's the 3rd strikeout tonight for the Mets pitcher. Seaver is struck out and put down a sacrifice bunt. Tom takes the ball. That's over on the outside corner for a called strike. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Tom off a 1-1 pitch. Grounds one hard to left. The inning will continue as the leadoff batter, Eddie Milner, steps in. Eddie 1 for 2. A triple in the 3rd. He scored and came back to walk in the 4th inning. Eddie trying to do it again, but plate umpire Nick Colosi calling a momentary timeout as Seaver in the process of buttoning up the jacket at first base. Unseasonably cool here in Cincinnati tonight. Milner grounds it up the middle, but fielded by Gardenhire, and here's a throw to first. Not in time. A split second of uncertainty by Ron Gardenhire as to what to do with the baseball. His throw to first misses Milner, and Eddie gets an infield single.
Marty, the second baseman, allows that play up. Wally Backman, he didn't go to the bag, and that was Gardenhire's first thought, was go to the bag to force Seaver, with Seaver running, and Backman's nowhere to be found.
So the Reds try to take advantage of that mistake by Wally Backman. Seaver moves to second base, and here's Ron Oster, who's had 2 base hits and 3 RBIs tonight. Ronnie takes a high fastball. He bunted his way aboard in the 1st inning, delivered a run home with a fly ball to left in the 3rd, and then came up with that big 2-out, 2-run bases loaded single in the 4th inning. Oster has now knocked in 18 runs. Pitch way inside, and a heck of a play by John Stearns as he backhanded that ball on the bounce to save Mike Scott a wild pitch. Two 2-0 on the batter. Well, let's see if Ronnie can deliver another big 2-out base hit to again give Seaver a little bit of breathing room. Scott has to throw strikes. Oster grounds it up the middle. It will be speared by Gardenhire, and no, safe at second base. He flipped on to Wally Backman, but Milner, with that good speed, just got there ahead of the second baseman and crossing the bag. So back-to-back infield singles. Load the bases for Dave Concepcion. Davey about due. He was on in the first with a walk, but has gone 0 for 2 since then, having grounded out to third base and hitting into a force play in the 4th, following Oster's 2-run single that broke the 2-2 tie. Seaver third, Milner second, Oster first. Mike Scott throws in the baseball. He wants another one. I'll tell you, the Mets pitcher has been in trouble almost every inning. Davey takes ball one. Reds left a runner on in the first, scored in the second, scored again in the third, scored twice in the fourth, gave up a leadoff hit to Dreesen in the fifth inning, but then the double play ball off the bat of Vail and the ground out by Walker, and now in trouble here in the sixth. 2 balls, no strike. Tom Hausman has joined Orozco in the bullpen. Pitch. Grab ball, base hit, center field. Seaver scores. Milner will score. Davey delivers 2 runs home, and Cincinnati leads it 6-3. Another big 2-out base hit. Here comes George Bamberger to the mound, and that is going to be all for Mike Scott. He has summoned the left-hander, Jesse Orozco. All of this coming after the first 2 hitters in the inning had been retired, and Seaver got it going with a ground single to left. Back-to-back infield hits by Milner and Oster, and Davey grounds a single into center field that nets his ball club 2. So Scott leaves, Orozco comes on. Runners are at first and second, and Jesse, after warming up, will be facing Danny Dreesen. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is J.C. Dillon. Welcome to our On Deck Show, a close-up look at who's making things happen this year at the park. Our special guest today is 36-year veteran scout Lefty Lemon.
Yeah, hi, how you all?
Hey, Lefty, how's the season shaping up?
Well, I'll tell you, J.C. I've been around a lot of parks. I've never been so fired about the way things are stacking up.
Oh, why's that, Lefty?
Because there's a whole corral full of hot new prospects.
Picked up a lot of talent from this year's tryouts.
Yeah, I looked all across America, J.C.
Is that right?
Yeah, picked only the finest performers.
Performers?
Yeah, I just love it when they kick them legs up.
Kick what up?
Yeah, and curtsy around the way they do.
Curtsy around.
I never saw such talent.
Lefty.
The dancing and the singing.
Lefty, are we talking about baseball here?
No, we're talking about Kings Island. They got the best shows in the country. They'll keep your feet stomping, your hands clapping, your toes.
Kings Island, loaded with Grand Slam entertainment every day, all summer long.
Lefty Jesse Orozco, the new pitcher for the Mets. Orozco making his 17th appearance of the year. He owns a .245 earned run average, but he's 0-4 in wins and losses. 33 innings, Orozco has allowed 24 hits, has walked 15, and has struck out 33. And, of course, George Bamberger was hoping that Mike Scott would get through the inning since he is the second batter in the 7th. But the Reds come back after the first 2 are retired and pick up 2 runs, and they have Oster at second, Concepcion at first. Dreesen will be the batter, and Danny is 2 for 3 tonight. He has singled his last 2 times up. Orozco completes his warm-ups. Here's Marty.
Danny Dreesen batting .436 this season against left-handed pitching. As he tries to keep the hit parade going here, the Reds pecking knots on the head of Mike Scott to the tune of a dozen hits in 5 2/3 innings, and all 6 of the runs are earned runs. Well, Danny has jumped his batting average up to .313 as he awaits Orozco's first pitch. Here it is, and it's high, ball 1. Houston has jumped out in front of Philadelphia 3-0. That game's in the 5th inning. Pitch. Swung on and hit off a first base foul. Kingman is over, and the ball will drop out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. So 6-3 the score. 2-run single by Dave Concepcion gives him 24 runs batted in. Dreesen, the club leader, with 25, but Davey breathing right down his neck now. Orozco behind the mound. Now comes back on top. The youngster looking around. Steps out of the pitching rubber. Checks with Stearns. Here's a pause in the pitch. Inside. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Western Division trying to make a clean sweep today of clubs in the East. Pitch. That's over for a strike call. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Giants beat the Cubs. San Diego leading Pittsburgh. Dodgers in front by 2 over the Cardinals. Houston up 3 on Philly. Again, Montreal, Atlanta rained out. 2-2 on the way. And that's way outside, ball 3. So Oster will leave second. Concepcion first. With a full count on a hitter and 2 men out. Here comes Orozco with a payoff pitch, and Greason swings and fouls straight back. Reds sent 7 batters to the plate in the 4th inning when they scored 2 times, and Greason the 7th man to bat here in the 6th. Well, it's been a good night offensively for the home club. Line drive, base hit center field. Wilson charges, plays. He will not be able to keep Oster from scoring. Davey moves to third, 7-3 our side. A 3-hit night for Danny Dreesen. He scores Oster. Concepcion journeys to third base, and it brings up Mike Vail. Mike is 0 for 3, is fly to left, fly to deep center, and in the 5th inning, he bounced into a double play. Paul Householder now goes down to loosen up with Coach Harry Dunlop. We'll probably see Walker move to left field and Householder go into right when the Mets bat in the 7th inning. Bale takes a breaking pitch inside. Well, the Reds, after 2 men were retired, have had 5 straight hits. 2 balls and no strikes on Mike Vail.
Marty, Roscoe just went to his mouth, but nothing was said.
Hard to believe that all 4 umpires missed it. Well, Vail has him where he wants him, the 2-0 pitch, and that's in for a call strike. The runner at third belongs to the starter, Scott. And, of course, over at first base, Danny Dreesen, the responsibility of Jesse Orozco. Stretching, pitching, Vail swinging, looping it into right field. Backman going out. Valentine coming in. Another hit. Davey scores. Dreesen moves on to third and beats the throw, and it's 8-3. Now you can once and for all close the book on Mike Scott. He goes 5 2/3 innings, giving up 12 hits and 8 runs, all of them earned. He struck out 3 and walked 3. The Reds have greeted Jesse Orozco with back-to-back base hits. And here is Wayne Walker, the 9th man to hit in the inning, and Vail giving way to Paul Householder at first base. Walker is double and scored, single and scored, and grounded out hard to second. He's 2 for 3. Biggest inning so far tonight, 4 for Cincinnati. Pitch is up and in. Ball 1. Here's a throw to first, and Householder with just a step or 2 away from the bag, steps back in easily. Left-hander ready, throwing. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Danny Dreesen, the lead runner at third base. Paul Householder running for Mike Vail at first. Walker takes it in on him. 2 balls and 1 strike. All of it coming after the first 2 had been retired. Bench a fly to center. O'Berry struck out. Seaver single. Infield hits by Milner and Oster. 2-run single by Concepcion. There's ball 3. That was it for Scott. Orozco came on. Dreesen base hit him to center field. He got another run in. Vail flares one into shallow right, and another run scores. 3-1. Orozco behind to Walker, and a very high pop-up around the plate. John Stearns backpedals to fair territory, pounds a mitt, and makes a catch. A big, big 6th inning for Cincinnati. The Reds get 4 runs, 6 base hits, 2 men left on, and after 6, Cincinnati leading New York 8-3.
Money. Baseball teams and farmers always need to stretch their money to put together a winning team. John Deere's got something new for farmers, a 5-year new equipment lease plan. Keeps payments low, LOW, up front and throughout the lease term. Your Deere dealer has details on this dollar stretcher. Sorry, Reds. Works only for Deere farmers.
For the best deals on new and used equipment, see your local John Deere dealer.
Well, the luxury of a 5-run lead. That's the condition that Tom Seaver's working under as we move on to the 7th inning. Got some defensive changes as anticipated in the Reds outfield. To tell you about them and to go on again call the 7th, here's Joe.
Thank you, Marty. Dwayne Walker moves from right field to left field, and Paul Householder, who came into the game to run for Mike Vail, will be in right field. It'll be Ron Gardenhire to lead it off for the Mets as they bat in the 7th, and then a pinch hitter for Jesse Orozco. Tom Hausman still throwing in the New York bullpen. Seaver has struck out 6. It's allowed the Mets 7 hits, along with the 3 runs, all earned runs. Gardenhire will lead it off. He's 0 for 2, has popped out to Dreesen, and has popped out to bench in foul territory. They're going to send up to hit for Orozco. I think Rusty Staub with a bat in the New York dugout. Seaver ready to go to work on Ron Gardenhire. Tom winds, and his first pitch, Gardenhire swings and a fly ball to left field. Drifting back to Wayne Walker, more toward left center. Waiting, and Walk has it, 1 away. A 1 down, and we'll see who's going to hit for the Mets. It looks like Gary Racich will go to the plate to hit for Jesse Orozco. Racich hit his first major league home run in New York against the Reds. So Racich at the plate. Racich a 190 batting average with a home run, 5 RBIs. First pitch to Racich, high and outside a ball. Well, a game at Indianapolis tonight. Wichita beating the Indians 6-5. Swinging a foul tip into the mid of Mike O'Berry. It's 1-1. Doug Capella, the winner for Wichita, and take it back. I thought it was over. That's the first inning. I thought it was the final. 6 runs for Wichita in the first, and the Indians come back with 5. Hold on there, Doc. Seaver into the wind and delivers, and Racich takes strike 2 on the inside edge. The count evens 2-2. Tom has his sign, the 2-2. Racich takes it low and inside, a changeup. Full count now to Gary Racich. Mookie Wilson on deck. Tom has retired the Mets in order in 3 of the previous 6 innings, the 2nd and the 4th and 5th. Swing and a foul ball down the right field line. That went up into the green seats, but way foul. Count holds 3 balls, 2 strikes to Gary Racich. Hitting for Jesse Orozco. Again, the payoff. Racich swings and fouls this one back and into the seats. Seaver working, and Racich taking high and outside, ball 4, and that's the first walk issued by Seaver tonight. Well, with 1 away and Racich at first base, Mookie Wilson the batter. Wilson 0 for 3. Struck out in the first, grounded to short in the third, and a fly ball to Vail and left in the 5th. Grayson will play behind Racich at first base. The pitch to Wilson, and Mookie swings and pops it up over the head of Bench, and the fair ball down the left field line. On his way to second is Wilson. The throw not in time, and Mookie running and looking back at Buddy Harrelson, and this Bud saying, Mookie saying, I got to see what Racich did. So Seaver jams Wilson, and he drops it along the left field line for a double, and Tommy Hume will start throwing in the Reds bullpen. 1 away, runners at second and third, and the batter is John Stearns. Stearns 2 for 3 tonight. After a fly ball to right in the first inning, he singled in the third and doubled in the 6th. Seaver delivers, Stearns takes high, ball 1. So Hume throwing in the bullpen. Seaver the 1-0. Stearns takes low and outside, and it's 2-0. George Foster on deck, and now Bill Fisher out of the Reds dugout, and he's going to go to the mound to check on Seaver and find out how Tom feels. He walked Racich with 1 out, and then Wilson got jammed on a pitch and dropped it over Bench's head down the left field line for a double. Fisher now at the mound with Michael Berry and Seaver. Mets with 8 hits in the game now.
Thanks for tonight's plate attendance. 13,319. 13319. Also want to call your attention to the pitching change that we did on no tonight's solo.
Well, Fisher back to the dugout. The attendance tonight, 13,319. 2-0 the count as Seaver delivers to Stearns, and John swings and a fly ball to left. Dwayne Walker waiting on it. He has it. Tagging and coming home is Racich, and Walker throws him out. A strike to Michael Berry. Put a good tag on Gary Racich, and that ends the inning. So a great throw by Dwayne Walker, and the Mets do not score here in the inning. For New York, no runs, a hit, no errors, a runner left on base, and at the middle of the seventh, it's the Reds 8, the Mets 3.
We asked Charlie McCoy to tell you a little something about Busch beer. And here's what he said. Real smooth, Charlie. Just like Busch beer. How's about you and me having a couple? Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, a great throw by Dwayne Walker in left field to cut down Gary Racich at the plate, ended the top of the inning, and the Mets do not score. In the bottom half of the inning, it'll be Johnny Bench to lead it off, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Mets, Tom Hausman. And before we give you his stats, we'll pause for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Network.
Hi, this is Ron Reiser. Let me help you make it through the drive home every weekday afternoon from 2 to 6 here on WSYX London.
Right-hander Tom Hausman, the new pitcher for New York. He's making just his fifth appearance of the year, an 0.96 earned run average. Bench swings and misses. 9 innings, Hausman has allowed 7 hits, has struck out 3, and has not walked a batter. He delivers the 0-1, bench swings and a ground ball, and up with it is Baylor at third. His throw on to Kingman, 1 out. A 1 down, and that brings Mike O'Barry to the plate. Mike, 0 for 2 and a walk, has scored a run. Like we'll probably see Tommy Hume in the 8th inning for the Reds. He continues to throw in the Cincinnati bullpen. Mike looks at a strike, a slider to knees. Hausman back with the 0-1. O'Barry swings and grounds it to the right side. Up with the ball is Bachman, and he almost got Hausman in trouble, throwing over the bag, and Hausman tumbling to the ground after he took the throw, and they retire O'Barry, but Hausman down on one knee in foul territory, and Bachman, Kingman both checking with him, and I think Tom might have just had the wind knocked out of him, but a bad throw by Wally Bachman almost gets Hausman run over by Mike O'Barry. Hausman back on his feet now. Apparently all right. Play goes 4-1. 2 away, and Herman Barranca will hit for Tom Seaver. Barranca hitting .313 as a pinch hitter. Herman is 7 for 27. Hausman back on the mound. George Bamberger and the Met trainer out to make sure that Tom's all right. Reds leading 8-3. They've out-hit the Mets 14-8. Rafi Landestoy loosening up, and he'll probably replace Bench at third base. So Barranca to hit for Tom Seaver. Seaver worked 7 innings tonight, allowed 8 hits, struck out 6, walked 1, and the 3 runs, all earned runs. Now Stearns will go to the mound to have a word with Hausman. Osman into the line, the pitch, and Barranca swings and loops it into right field. That'll be a base hit. 8th pinch hit of the year for Germán Barranca. Hit number 15 for the Reds, the first off Osman, and Eddie Milner, the batter. Eddie 2 for 3 tonight, has scored 2 runs. Two out, Barranca at first base. Osman working and Milner taking, low and inside, ball 1. Reds scoring runs, 1 in the second and 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 4 in the 6th. Milner swings, ground ball. Bachman to his left has it. 2 Kingman, and that's the inning. The Reds in the 7th. No runs, a hit, no errors, a runner left, and after 7, the Reds 8, Mets 3.
WSYX is more than music. It speaks to the heart.
There is a little Greek saying which has been passed on through time that says, you will break the bow if you keep it always bent. You'll break under the load if you continually stay wound up. You have to give yourself a time of rest and refreshment.
We're failing to get the cookies on the lower shelf. The Lord said, feed my sheep, not my giraffes. And a lot of you people have spiritual babes. You feed a babe with a bottle, not a fire hose.
Jack, you're 7 years old, and your job's to carry out the trash, and we expect you to carry out the trash. But when he goes above and beyond that, and he's really making an all-out effort in an area that's hard for him, then reward can act like the starter on a car.
Contemporary teachers that speak to contemporary problems. Hear them on FM 106.
7 inning total show that New York with 3 runs on 8 hits and no errors. The Reds 8 runs, 15 hits, no errors. New pitcher on the mound for the Reds, Tommy Hume, and Tom making his 22nd appearance of the year. He's 0-1 with a 178 earned run average. In 30 innings, Hume has allowed 23 hits, has walked 8, and then struck out 10, and he'll be facing George Foster leading it off here in the 7th. We have a new third baseman. To tell you about him, here's Marty.
Thank you, Joe. Rafael Landestoy is now taking over at third base, replacing Johnny Bench. Tommy Hume on the mound now, trying to close it out for Tom Seaver, who gives way to the right-hander with a 5-run lead, 8-3 here in the 8th inning, and it'll be Foster, Kingman, and Valentine for New York. Foster working on a perfect night, a home run and 2 singles to drive in 2 of the 3 New York runs. Hume brings it up there, and Foster swings and doesn't get it. Now we want to congratulate the Tecklenburgs down in Linda, Don, the business manager of the Cincinnati Ball Club. Laura Beth, born tonight at Christ Hospital about 8:15, their 3rd daughter. Foster takes it down low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's a swing and a pop-up. That'll be playable by Mike O'Berry, circling behind the plate. Now goes to fair territory, up the first baseline about 10 feet, and makes the catch, and Foster's out. Dave Kingman has struck out twice and reached on a fielder's choice. This reminder, the Reds and Kroger are teaming up for Cost Cutter Night, and lucky Reds fans are going to be taking home $10,000 in groceries. Be on hand Tuesday, June 22nd for Cost Cutter Night when the Reds play the Padres. Kingman takes it inside for a ball. Once again, Oster joining Concepcion and Landestoy on the left side of the infield. Big Dave drives this one back up into the seats behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seaver going 7 innings, giving up 8 hits and 3 runs, all earned. He walked a batter and struck out 6. Interesting, I guess you could call it a rumor that appeared in the New York Post today. Here's a 1-1 pitch, swinging a foul. The Post quoting a high New York Mets front office source is saying that negotiations are underway for a possible trade that would send Tom Seaver back to New York. They mentioned Joel Youngblood coming to Cincinnati and an unnamed pitcher. A lot of people feel like it could be the young man starting against the Reds tonight, Mike Scott. Kingman strikes out swinging. 2 away for Ellis Valentine. We also understand that the general manager of the Mets, Frank Cashin, says that the story is not in any way true. But apparently it's been a foregone conclusion for a while that Nelson Doubleday, the owner of the New York Mets, would like nothing better than to see Tom Seaver back in a New York Mets uniform. 2 outs, the bases are empty here in the 8th. Valentine 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. He delivered a run home in the 6th inning. Blowing off the plate for a ball. The Reds scoring 4 big runs in the 6th inning to break open a close game after New York had drawn to within 1. Swing at a foul to the mid of Michael Berry. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, good to see Tom Hume back on the mound again. I know that knee injury he suffered in Montreal gave him quite a scare, especially after it muffed up on him. Check swing by Valentine. Did he go too far? Frank Pulley at first base says no.
Funny, I think Tom, and in fact, you can see he's wearing a brace on that knee, one with the steel ribs on the side.
Comes back to Valentine, swung on, smashed. Davey short hops it backhand style. The bounce throw got him. What a play. Folks, he can flat pick it at shortstop. That is an absolute steal on Ellis Valentine. 3 up and 3 down in the middle of the 8th inning. 8-3, Cincinnati.
Something you subscribers of the Madison Press have requested for a long time has arrived. You're right. The daily log of all cable and network television programs shown in Madison County now occupy the pages of the only daily newspaper in Madison County. And to be sure you have the daily logs, call now at 852-1616 and subscribe for front door delivery. Remember, for logs of all cable and network programs, call the Madison Press at 852-1616. Madison County's only daily newspaper. Dan Rooney, the best possible choice for state representative. Dan Rooney has the agricultural background required to represent a district like the 83rd District. Dan Rooney has the business experience and knowledge to be able to represent the business community and plans for needed industrial development. Dan Rooney has gained the necessary political experience and ability we need through his many years of service to the Republican Party. Dan Rooney, the best possible choice for state representative. This announcement was paid for by the committee to elect Dan Rooney. David Dye, treasurer.
Tom Hausman, and we were just checking back, Joe did, and the 15 base hits the Reds have had through 7 at-bats in this game. That is the most that they've had in one game this season. 3 times, Joe? They've had 14 hits in a ball game, but tonight the high water mark.
Marty, we had 14 against Atlanta on April the 13th. We had 14 against Houston on the 5th of May, and 14 against Montreal last Sunday.
Here's a pitch to Oster, a swing and a miss. Ronnie has had 3 of those hits. He is a perfect 3 for 3, including 3 RBIs, and if the lead stands up, he would gain credit for the game-winning run batted in. He swings on a pitch in on him, a breaking ball, and fouls it off for strike 2. Cardinals have tied it up against the Dodgers 2-2 on a George Hendrick home run, his 10th of the year. Houston now leading Philadelphia 3-2. The Phillies come up with a couple of runs in the 6th inning. Oster takes it off the plate. Hausman, their third pitcher. Mike Scott gave up 12 of the 15 hits and all 8 of the runs. Orozco gave up 2 hits in a third of an inning and a base hit by Barranca off Hausman in the 7th. Rano ground ball to second. Backman up and throwing to Kingman, 1 out. Here's Dave Concepcion, 1 for 3. That also netted the Reds 2 runs, a single in the 6th inning. Join the Reds Pepsi Dugout Club. You can sign up now at all Meyer Square stores in the greater Cincinnati area, or you can call the Reds office for information. You are not going to see a better play than Davey turned in on Valentine in the top of the inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Ball had a little bit of tail to it going away from him. He backhanded the ball on the short hop deep in the hole and threw the perfect one bouncer to Danny Dreesen, and he almost took Houseman apart with a line drive back through the middle. Base hit. So the Reds now with 16 hits. Here is another 3-hit performer in Danny Dreesen. He is 3 for 4 and has knocked in 1. Got his 26 RBI in that 4-run 6th inning. Well, everybody in the Reds starting lineup tonight has had a base hit with the exception of Mike O'Berry. And there's base hit number 4 for Dreesen. A single to right. Davey takes a turn and will hold at second base. You had to figure that sooner or later this was going to happen. The Reds struggling as they were for run production, not so much base hits, but run production, time after time after time. They'd get a decent number of base hits and really not have a whole lot to show for them. But tonight, they have combined the two big ingredients, hits 17 and runs 8. And they may not be finished yet with 2 on and 1 out here in the 8th inning as Paul Householder settles in for the first time. Now, Paul had an excellent series in New York in 2 starts. He had 4 hits. He lets the first pitch pass, and it's just a bit high. Householder entered the game as a pinch runner for Vail in the 6th inning and stayed to play right field with Walker moving over to left. One-0 pitch. That's high for a ball. The 4 hits tonight raised Danny Dreesen's batting average to .320. He started out the night at .307. He's added 13 points to that batting average, and he is right up there amongst them. Here's a shot down the left field line, but foul and out of play. That .320 batting average, certainly not knowing what the other people up among the batting leaders in the league are doing or have done today or tonight. Rupert Jones was leading the league at .355. Jason Thompson at .337. Ray Knight at .321. And Danny Dreesen is now at .320. 2-1 pitch. Here's a drive into right center field. Valentine on the move, and he picks it off. On the dead run, now trying to get back to first is Dreesen. He's out. A double play, Danny running hard, trying to get back to first base. But Valentine, with that great throwing arm, not only took away an extra base hit from Paul Householder, but throwing a strike to Dave Kingman to double up Dreesen and end the inning. No runs, 2 hits. 1 man left. We go to the 9th inning. The Reds 8th, and that's 3.
Here is what was written in the November 1981 issue of Motor Trend magazine about one of Honda's automobiles. Quote, like a rich Cabernet Sauvignon, it is subtle yet complex. Though anyone can sample and enjoy it, true automobile connoisseurs who look beyond the obvious will find many delights below the surface, unquote. They are referring to the Honda Accord, the 1982 vintage.
Honda, we make it simple.
Busch Beer and Janie Fricke. What could be better together?
That time of day when you can say, come on and head for the mountains. You know the best is coming your way. Head for Busch Beer. Reach out, it's here. It's time to head for the mountains. The taste is smooth and waiting for you.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bob Baylor leading off the 9th inning for the New York Mets, and they're 5 down as Tommy Hume misses with the first pitch. Hume coming off of a perfect 8th. Cardinals have now jumped in front of the Dodgers. Game is in the St. Louis 7th inning. Call called strike to Baylor. Bob is flied out, struck out, and singled. Hume 1-1 in pitching. Baylor grounds one by the mound. Oster charges, makes a pickup, throws to Drew. Here's Wally Backman. He's 0 for 3 and had a hit taken away on certainly the key play in the game, and that came in the 6th inning after the Mets had scored a run and had 2 men on base with 2 out. Backman hit a hooking line drive down the left field line, and it really did not look like Mike Vail was going to get to it. Not only did he get to it, but with a leaping try, he picked it off to end the inning. Pitches a ball low. The Reds pitching staff of Seaver and Hume in this game certainly have been the beneficiary of some fine defense tonight, I'll tell you. Ground line drive off the glove of Landistoi, but he picks it up, and the good strong throw to first got him 2 out. That liner momentarily handcuffing Rafael Landistoi, but the ball dropped into the dirt around third base, and he recovered in time to throw out Backman. So with 2 down in the 9th inning, the batter will be the shortstop, Ron Gardenhire. But he will be called back, and Rusty Staub is going to pinch hit. Staub, who expressed fears just a few days ago in the New York press of not being sharp because he has not been getting a lot of playing time. Hitting 194, the left-handed batter takes the ball. Staub has homered twice, has knocked in 7 runs. He's 4 for 20 as a pinch hitter. He pops this one up. Out in shallow left, Concepcion waiting, and this one belongs to the Reds. In the 9th inning, the Mets are out of order, and the Reds kick off this weekend series on a winning note. A season's high 17 base hits and an 8-3 win over New York. We'll be back in just a moment.
There's one chainsaw that continues to be the largest selling in the world, and that says a lot about a Stihl. To be top saw, a Stihl's got to be rugged, hard-working, smooth-running, and easy to start. So for the best-selling Stihl chainsaw, check the yellow pages under saw.
If that's the largest selling, hardest-working cutting machine, then that can only mean...
That's right. It's a chainsaw from Stihl.
Nothing works as hard as a Stihl.
Well, the Reds put it all together tonight. Tom Seaver throwing the ball very well for 7. Tommy Hume came on to pitch a perfect 8th and 9th inning, and the Reds with 17 base hits. They blew it wide open by scoring 4 times in the 6th inning off Mike Scott and Jesse Orozco en route to an 8-3 win. The Reds had 8 runs, 17 hits, no errors, and left 9, while New York had 3 runs, 8 hits, played errorless ball, stranded 5. Seaver the winner. He's 2-6 on the year, and Scott the loser. His record slips to 4 wins and 5 losses. The Reds now 21-29, and we mentioned earlier with the Atlanta Braves having been rained out earlier tonight in their game at home against Montreal, the Reds cut a half game off that lead. They're now 8.5 games back, and while not being able to gain on the San Francisco Giants, who won today, and San Diego trying to hang on to a 1-run lead late in the game at Pittsburgh. The Dodgers, of course, are losing. Houston won up on Philadelphia, so still some games yet to be decided. The Reds may be able to gain on more than just a half game that they pick up on the idle Atlanta Braves. We'll tee it up, the Mets and the Reds at 7:05 tomorrow night. On the mound, Cincinnati, 4-4, the record of Mario Soto. And, of course, went into tonight's play with the National League lead in strikeouts with a total of 94, 9 better than Steve Carlton of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Carlton pitching in that game down in Houston tonight. And on the mound for the Mets will be their rookie right-hander, Charlie Puleo. We pointed out earlier in this game that he has been the most consistent pitcher in George Bamberger's rotation. And the record would certainly reflect that statement. 5 wins and 2 losses. Plenty of seats available for tomorrow night's encounter, as well as the closeout to the 3-game series on Sunday afternoon, the game that'll be preceded by the old-timers game that'll get underway at 1 o'clock. We'll be on the air with the pregame shows tomorrow night on most of these same stations, beginning at 6:35 Cincinnati time. This copyrighted broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. Stay tuned now for Joe Nuxall with the Star of the Game show. And again, the final score, Reds 8, Mets 3.